Greetings and salutations, everybody. We are back with another episode of Cliff Notes Tuesdays, and we're doing chapter 2 of inbound marketing. So this chapter is called, Is Your Website a Marketing Hub? And just from the onset of the chapter, they compare the difference between what they call a megaphone versus a hub. So before the Web 2.0 era, everybody made websites that were essentially online version of their brochures. And the book, they call it brochureware. And essentially, those days are long gone. You need to make a site that is, more effectively a hub where tons of things are linking back to it, and it's a place that is a community for like-minded people that are looking for information. So they also go on to talk about how it's not what you say, it's what's said about you. And you want to be more like a New York City rather than a Wellesley, Massachusetts. I don't even know where that is, and I'm standing in New York City, so I agree with that. And they also tell you that you should focus 75% of your efforts for your site, or your business rather, offline, because that will cause more people to talk about you online and more sites to link to you and create this hub or ecosystem around your business. And then they ask, does your website have a pulse? And the way to give it a pulse is to enable RSS so people can subscribe to your website and get notices whenever you update that content. It's a way to make sure that people keep coming back to your site. And then there's a pretty large section that's broken into two sections essentially that talks about the idea of needing to redesign your site. And they say that essentially people that always want to do a redesign just have a really myopic view of their website. Really, people aren't coming to your site for the design, they're coming for the content. And obviously design is a big consideration, but make sure that you're delivering content that people want so they keep coming back. And then they also talk about tracking your progress. So before you do any of this, you want to see where you stand, see how many followers you have, see how many subscribers, how many links, how much traffic. And they talk about website.grader.com as a good tool to measure a lot of those different things. And then they go on to cite 37 Signals as an example of a site that's using inbound correctly. So the 37 Signals, they're the maker of Basecamp, and they have a blog called Signal versus Noise. And they developed such great content that they really created such a huge community around that site. They had about 3 million users come to Basecamp because of their blog. Their blog is actually rated in the top 0.1% of blogs on the web, and as such, they've generated tons of links, traffic, et cetera, and that's allowed them to convert those people into users of Basecamp. And one of the points they make is that the design hasn't changed much during that whole process. So again, the book ends with things that you should do. You should calculate your reach, go to the website.grader.com site and see where you stand. Stop obsessing over the look and feel of the design of your site, and don't redesign. Instead of doing that, focus on your blog, bring in RSS and email subscriptions, and then also consider making your blog your homepage. And again, they cite Barack Obama's site. Check out 37signals.com and keep reading the book. So that wraps up chapter 2. I'll see you next week for chapter 3. Signing off.